Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Old Dude Disc Golf with your buddy, Nick Arnette. Hey friends, thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to do a little tutorial with all the stuff that I wished I knew when I first started playing disc golf, such as some of the terminology of Overstable, Understable, Flippy, understanding what flight numbers are and what they do, and the different kind of plastics. I'm going to get to that today. After putting this whole thing together, I realized I could probably make this into 3 or 4 different videos, but I wanted you to have everything all in one place, and I have marked the chapters so you can refer back to it. Okay, friends, ready? Here we go. First of all, why do I recommend lighter disc? Well, it's pretty simple. Because it's lighter, your arm can move faster. If your arm can move faster, then you can get the disc up to the speed it needs to go to fly properly. I am sure you've experienced it, and I still do. I get discs that are too fast for me, and I cannot get them to fly properly. They just fly like this the whole time. They never stand up, all right? So a lighter disc is easier to do that with if it's at the proper speed for your arm. And we're going to talk about the proper speeds right now. Hey friends, for driver speeds, I'd go with this rule of thumb. Between 6 and 9 should be fine for us senior and low arm speed disc golfers. My very first driver was a 6-speed Leopard, and I still use it. Still goes plenty far. I now mainly use this 8-speed. It's a diamond, and it goes as far as anything else that I have. I also like the Jade in a 9-speed, all right? You'll figure it out. Regarding weights for drivers, I'd stay in the 150 range. Or even less. I have a driver that's 145 and I like it a lot. You can even go lighter than that if you want. You might have to experiment a bit. Best way is to borrow one from somebody you're playing with that has a disc that you like and they throw well. Maybe you can try it out and see if that works well for you. That's the cheapest way to do it. Also, occasionally you can find used discs here and there. So that's what I would do for drivers, all right? Mid-range in the 160 range, I would stay in the 160 range for mid-range. For putters, you can go heavier, okay? You can go in the 170s with putters. Some like the heavier putters because they don't go as far when you throw them, perhaps, because you're not throwing them that hard. And they might have a better chance of sticking in the chains. I use my glitch. As a putter often. And it does occasionally bounce off the chains, but generally it does okay. If it bounces off the chains, so what? I'm still having a great time out there.
Flight numbers were extremely confusing to me when I first started playing disc golf. I had no idea what they meant. They have speed, glide, turn, and fade. So hopefully this will help. The speed number means how fast the disc needs to be thrown to fly as it was intended to fly. Disc speeds range from 1 to 15. 1 being the slowest, 15 being the fastest. Think about it as like a 15-speed bike. You're in first gear, you can't go super fast, but as you get going faster and faster, you can move up and up in the gears, all the way up to 15 speed. But us senior disc golfers, us low arm speed, average players, generally, we're generally in the 7 to 9 speed area, and we can have a lot of fun and throw plenty far at those speeds. Okay, friends? Glide is how long the disc stays in the air. So glides start at 7 for the maximum glide, and they go all the way down to 1 for the lowest glide. Maximum glide is good for distance, especially for us low arm speed players. The disadvantage is it's gliding. The wind can take it off and away, possibly. So sometimes you'd want a lower number for a windy day, or if you're putting, you want a lower number so it doesn't glide way past the basket. Turn is the amount the disc is going to go right or stay straight, or maybe even go to the left after you throw it. The more negative the turn, the more right it's going to go after you throw it if you are a right-hand backhand thrower. The range is from a +1, and that's known as an overstable disc, all the way to a -5, and that would be called an understable disc. Most discs with a -2 on up, I would consider an understable disc, and those are generally what we're going to be throwing off the tee. Fade means how the disc is going to finish at the end of its flight. The range is from 0 to 5. 0 means it's going to stay straight, and 5 means it's going to take a left, a hard left at the end of the flight if you're a right-hand, backhand thrower. So in this case, this disc has a fade of 1, which means it's going to finish a little bit to the left, or fade a little bit to the left. The higher the number, the more it's going to fade at the end of the flight. Simple as that, friends.
More often than not, you're going to see the flight numbers listed like this and not labeled, but it's still the same thing. So there's the 8 speed, okay? 6 glide, so it'll glide for a while. -3, it's going to turn to the right a fair amount, and then it's going to come back a little at the end. Here are the flight numbers on this particular mid-range disc. 4 speed, so you don't have to be throwing it too fast to get it going. 4 glide, so it won't stay in the air super long, but good enough for mid-range. That's a good one. 0 means it's going to go pretty straight. That's called the turn. Remember, speed, glide, turn, so it's not going to turn, and then fade at the end 2, so it's going to come back to the left if you're throwing right-hand, backhand.
Here's an example of flight numbers for a putter.
2, so you can see, you don't have to throw fast to make that one go, okay? 3, it's not going to glide too much, which is good because it's a putter. You don't want it to go way past the basket. 0, it's going to go pretty straight, and then it's going to go a little bit left at the end. Okay, I'm going to talk about disc stability. The terms overstable, understable, you hear that stuff all the time, and it's like, oh my gosh, I was playing for so long, I didn't even know what they were talking about when I would watch these videos. It was really frustrating to me. So I want to clarify it now. I hope this helps you if you don't already know. If you do, then skip ahead. All right, so anyway, here's a stable disc. It's going to go straight. There aren't a lot of discs like this, but the glitch would be one. It will go straight, and a lot of them, even though they're stable, they'll still fade out just a little bit at the end. Okay, that's a stable disc. An overstable disc is going to go straight, but it's going to finish hard left. And if you don't have a fast enough arm, you throw an overstable disc, it's going to go like this and then down, crash fast. You got to really get those things going. All right. Understable is what we're going to be using the most, right? Okay, friends? Low arm speed players and seniors, this is our disc, man. We dig these, okay? It's a diamond here. So you throw it, it's going to probably go out right, and it's going to probably go right, and then it's going to come back around like that and kind of finish just like that, right into the chains, right into the basket. An ace for you. Coming your way, everybody. Boom. So you, right. Now here's the crazy one. Flippy. You know how they talk about Flippy? It's a flippy disc. It's a flippy disc. What the heck? I didn't know what they were talking about. This one really took me a long time to figure out. All right. Here's what Flippy is. You throw it, and it just takes off. If you're right-handed, it just keeps going, goes after the right, and it doesn't come back. I have some that are still going. I don't know where in the heck they are. All right. But anyway, they just keep going. They keep going. They keep going. That's a flippy disc. All right. So sometimes people want that on purpose. All right. So that's called a flippy disc. It's really wasn't intended to fly that way. You know, it never comes back, and maybe because they threw it too hard. Sometimes you can throw a flippy disc, what's called flippy, so hard that it'll actually start rolling, and people do that on purpose too. So flippy, that is a flippy disc. You know, it's going to, or else, and then just start rolling. I hope that helps, friends. Okay, friends, how do you determine if a disc is overstable or understable? A handy trick to determine that is to add the last 2 numbers, okay? Add the last 2 numbers. And for example, let's take a look here at this destroyer. This is very overstable. The last 2 numbers, this is called the turn, how much it'll go to the right, and the fade, okay? How much it will go to the left at the end if you're throwing right-hand, backhand, okay? So -1, it's going to go a little bit right, but it's going to come back hard left. -1 plus 3 equals a positive 2, which means that that is an overstable disc. All right, that's how you add things up. Let's take a look here at a mid-range. We've got a cobra here. The last two numbers are -2 and 2, which means 0, which means that's a straight flyer, 0. So that is called a stable disc, and it should just go straight. Now here's another mid-range. This is called the rock. The last two numbers here are 0 and 3. You add that up, and that's a positive 3. So that actually is an overstable disc. It's a mid-range, so you're not throwing it as hard, so it's more forgiving. On a windy day, this is one I would throw. I keep it in my bag anyway. It's a pretty good mid-range disc that a lot of people have in their bag. Okay, here we go. Now let's look at a putter. Got a putter here with a turn of 0. Okay, it's going to go straight, but at the end, this one has a 0.5. This particular putter, they're all different. This one has a 0.5. You see the 0.5 there. So it is slightly overstable. All right. Okay, here we go to the glitch. The glitch, the glitch. Love the glitch. Check that out. It is 0 and 0. 0 turn, 0 fade, which means this flies as dead straight as you can. You don't see many discs with numbers like that, okay? So I hope that is a little bit helpful. So the closer it is to 0, the closer it is to 0 when you add up these last two numbers, all right? The closer it is to 0, the more stable it is. And the higher the positive number, the more overstable it's going to be, all right? Let me show you an understable disc. Here's an example of an understable disc. This is the diamond. And most of us are going to be throwing understable disc for the most part, certainly off the tee, okay? So you can see the last two numbers here are -3 and 1. So you add -3 plus 1, you still end up with a -2, which means that that is an understable disc. So you like that. The negatives go between they go up to all the way up to -5. But -2, -3, it means it's going to be understable, okay? All right, I hope that's of some help to you, but that's just a very simplified explanation. Also, keep in mind the kind of plastic you're going to get. I recommend the base plastic for most of these. If you can get them in base plastic, I would start out that way. Plastic really does affect the way the discs behave. Two discs of the same mold in different plastics are completely different discs for the most part. Case in point here, these are two beasts. One is in blizzard plastic, one is in DX plastic, about the same weight. Here's a video of me throwing each one, okay? I just can't throw that dang thing. There you go. Completely different discs. Be real careful, especially this blizzard plastic. Just have never thrown anything blizzard that worked well. And yeah, so I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the blizzard. I know a few of you are, and that's cool. But I say with the lighter stuff, and if it has other stuff that's good in other things like G-Star and Star Plastic, but the blizzard, I thumbs down from old dude. Okay, but if you like it, good on you. There's an excellent video about disc golf plastics at Best Disc Golf Discs. There's a link in the description. You're going to want to watch that. It's very interesting about how the plastic affects the disc flight. Really good video. So do take a look at that one, all right? Here's something interesting about discs. Take a look at the width of the rim. This is a very wide rim here, and this is on a super fast disc. This is a destroyer. It's a 12-speed. Now this is a leopard, okay? This is a leopard, and this is a 6-speed. It's a 6-speed disc, and you can see that it's about half, the rim is about half as wide as the 12-speed. So what that means, it's going to take about twice as much power to make this disc fly properly, to get it to spin, get it to fly the way it's supposed to, as this. That's why us low-speed disc golfers and senior disc golfers want to go more for discs in the lower range, because it doesn't take as much to get them going. I'll compare this to mid-range. You can see how it even goes down. See, there's a mid-range. See, the rim even gets thinner. And then look at the putter. Look at this particular putter here. Super thin, almost like nothing at all. Huh? Pretty interesting, huh, friends? Let's take a look at the shape of the discs. This is a driver. This is a Mamba. You see how it's real flat, real sleek. Here's a mid-range. You can see how it has a little bit more of a rounded edge. And even more pronounced is the putter. Shaped differently because they do different things. Okay, now, here's one that I didn't know what they were talking about. Hyzer and Anhyzer. And all that refers to is the angle of release, okay? So if you're throwing Hyzer, I'm releasing it at this angle, okay? All right, it does different things based on how you can do different things releasing at that kind of an angle. Here's one example of me releasing a disc on a Hyzer release. A lot of things can happen. This is just one example of what the disc will do on a Hyzer release. Throwing flat means you just throw flat. It's just a level throw, all right? In Anhyzer, you're tilting it this way, right? So you see that? And then you throw it, and then again, you can do that by body position. You can achieve it in different ways. Okay, here's an example of me throwing at an Anhyzer release. It's not that great of a throw, but you get the idea of what's happening, okay? There's a great, sometimes Anhyzer is referred to as Annie. All right, that's really cool, disc golf lingo. I'm throwing an Annie. Okay, I'm gonna put a little Annie on it. All right, and you can just make the disc do different things. There's a really good video, Just Disc. I'll put the link in the description, and he explains it so well. And also he has charts that are really helpful, okay? Do check that one out after you get done watching this one. But finish watching this one first. Don't just switch over there. Watch the rest of my video, because man, I think there's some good stuff in there. In the last episode, I provided a list of suggested videos based on viewer recommendations. Again, I want to be really clear about that. These were only the viewer recommendations and not necessarily my viewpoints. Some of those discs are too fast for me. I would not recommend any disc over a 9-speed. And if you're newer, 6 and 7 is not bad for a driver, okay? So again, though it's just a list that other viewers shared that they like, okay? So maybe these are discs that you can grow into or research more, or maybe you know somebody that has one and you can give it a throw like that. Also, I did make a few mistakes. I apologize. I mislabeled a few of those things. So as best I could, I did fix those. So if I have other mistakes, let me know. But the updated link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I need 1,000. I need 1,000. Please, friends, please, please, please. Okay, I would like that. Thank you all so much for your continuing support. Next week, I am actually going to be throwing some of the discs that you have recommended. All right, so stay tuned to that. In the meanwhile, everybody, I just want you to know one thing. No matter what, if you have low arm speed, if you're an old new disc golfer, if you're just watching for fun, you are awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time, my friends. Take good care of yourselves. Old dude disc golf, everybody.
Old dude.